Okay, I can only do these movies in 5-minute segments because I'm using a free MPEG encoder that will only do 5 minutes worth of movies. So, without further ado, let me begin. Um, I have made changes to the post form, and the buttons up here are pretty much standard. I added the 1, 2, 3 and the ABC and this button right here, and those are for lists, which I will cover separately in a different video. What I would really like to do is cover these buttons and these buttons in general, and then I'll be more specific later. The buttons up here, most of them have shortcuts, especially ours. Not all of these up here have shortcuts, but these bottom two rows have shortcuts. If you're using Firefox, you have to hold Alt-Shift to do the shortcut. These buttons over here do not have shortcuts because we use them a little bit less frequently, and clicking a button isn't that big a deal. The reason we have these subdivisions of communication is to make it much easier to read a post and then come back to a post and find the information you're looking for. This is especially true and at least understandable when you use question and request. If someone asks a question, either to me specifically or in general, sometimes I don't answer immediately. I go off for a day, I think about it, and then I come back because for me, meaningful dialogue is communicating my deepest truth. I'm not interested in chat. I'm not interested in just throwing words around. I want to really express myself. And I'm not trying to reach agreement, and I'm not trying to say my way is the right way. I'm trying to say, this is who I am. This is how I see it. This is what's working for me. But I also want other people's perspectives. I want to know what's working for them because, you never know what might come along. So with requests, that's also true. Questions and requests are really both questions, but a request is even more important in my mind because if someone's making a request for further interaction, I want to see if I can honor that request, and I don't always know immediately. Maybe I have to think about it for a day. I don't know. Or maybe they're making a request for more information, and it's going to go take me a while to dig it up and get it to them or write a help file or whatever. Well, if the communication has been broken down into these segments and these sections, when I come back to that post, I don't have to read a big block of text to find one little question or one request. I know immediately, okay, there's the question, there's the request. It makes it easier to highlight it, it makes it easier to quote it. It just makes it easier in general. Um, this top row is sort of, I don't know the right word for it, sort of process related. And this bottom row is sort of the nature of the communication. A statement is always a statement about self, or sort of like just a statement like, here's my truth. A perspective says, from my perspective, this is what I perceive to be valid, this is what I perceive to be real from my perspective. We're not saying anything absolute, we're just saying from my perspective, that's what it is. Experience is either in my experience, like in my experience, uh, I feel thought forms. That's in my experience. I'm not asking anyone to believe me, but that's real for me. That happens to me on a daily basis. I, whether it's real or not, it's real to me, and that's my experience. I'm sticking with it. Or it could be me telling of an experience. I could be telling a story about an experience I had. Belief is what I believe to be true. I won't give you an example. I think that's pretty obvious. And feeling is how I feel. Like, I'm enjoying this conversation, or I'm enjoying being here, or I'm enjoying these interesting thoughts you're throwing my way. I'm appreciating that. You have a little bit of freedom with feeling because you could always change it to appreciation. Feeling, you should feel free to feel open, changing the feeling to whatever feeling you are. Like you could say sad, or you could say happy, just beginning, because that's going to be obvious within the post. These first four, I think we should try to sort of stay with those because it makes it very easy to find the information you're wanting, and especially with the top row, they sort of have to be the way they are for a reason. I'm out of time, and we'll continue in a moment.